Hello and welcome. I am the Suit&Tie Dip&ChewGuy, and this is an installment of Tools of the Trade, the playlist that is basically in perpetual life support. So, this is one I've been thinking about for a while, but since I do so many, or so little rather, videos for this playlist, I've been sort of holding this in reserve. I am hoping to expand this playlist with Splatoon reviews, but funding is an issue with that. And even if funding was really good, it's still, there's only so much to be done. That's why I do these and I space them. As far as funding goes, we are in the midst of the February, the number 2 raffle. There is a video on it a few before this. If you want to check it out, if you're interested, it is a $3 minimum. But that is all I'm going to say about that here. This is my great-grandfather's snuff box. So, my family, both sides, are from southeastern Scotland, northeastern England. So, my great-grandfather joined the British Army in, I'm not exactly sure the exact year, but at the time it was 8-year sign up. So bang, 8 years you're in upon signing. Unfortunately for him, when he signed up, the Boer War was not too far off, or the technical term for it is the Second Boer War. The Second Boer War was from 1899 to 1902. It was mid to end of his 8-year sign up. So lucky him, he got to spend all 3.5 years in South Africa fighting the Boer. So the Boer War, which is a whole nother topic within itself, was in its early stages, it was field armies fighting each other. It was British Imperial forces against basically an army that had been cobbled together by Dutch settlers. South Africa had originally been a Dutch colony. The Boer standing armies did not last too long. By 1901, they were basically completely eliminated. In fact, I'd even say by 1900, by the end of 1900, they were no longer operational. What continued, though, was a guerrilla conflict. It has been called by some the first guerrilla warfare, in which bitter enders, Boers that weren't willing to give up, kept going, kept fighting, and used hit-and-run guerrilla tactics. And in that way, it was a first of its kind in large scale. So, my great-grandfather had joined the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders, which were based out of Stirling Castle, which is a little bit up the firth from Edinburgh in Scotland. He was a member of the 1st Battalion. The 1st Battalion was the one that they sent to South Africa. So what I have here is a reproduction. This is my grandfather. He is in late war uniform. Now, the glass is going to give a little bit of glare there. At this point, they had gone from sun helmets to slouch hats. They were wearing bandoliers, and they had gotten rid of, at least temporarily, the kilt, and he is in tartan trews. If you looked real close, and I do not think that this is going to be able to be seen, there is a Scottish tartan pattern on the pants that he's wearing. He is on a Boer farm at the moment. The notes that came with the glass negative, this was found in my grandfather's house. It was a plate glass negative that an older cousin of mine found. The Notes that came with it were that he is looking off and away. It was not so much a stage photo type thing of the time. He is actually keeping a eye on the photographer's back. Late stage guerrilla warfare, Boers were known for marksmanship, and snipers were a big problem. So that is the gentleman that we are talking about. This photo is from, I believe, late 1901. This is a copy of the actual photo. I don't actually have the original here with me. So, my great-grandfather, I know he was known to smoke cigars. I never met this gentleman. He died in, I believe, 1952. My father has some early memories of him. Oddity being that he is actually buried in South New Jersey, extreme South. So I actually go over and care for the gravestone of this gentleman from time to time. So at some point while in South Africa, he ran into a John Lacey. And I know this because I have the guy's name. And John Lacey traded or sold him a snuff box. Now, my great-grandfather rather, I have seen pictures of him smoking cigars. I did not know until I was bestowed this snuff box that he used snuff, but it would make sense, time period and whatnot. So this is it. It is handmade. I believe it is teak wood, and it has been lacquered. It has the regimental insignia carved into it. I don't know if this light's going to help. And overall, it is, quite frankly, very impressive. The workmanship and detail on it is extremely impressive. There is scrawl of some sort on the back. It's probably most likely the person that made it. I'm not sure if it is actually the person that he got this from. I don't know. May have been in India beforehand. I am thinking that may be some sort of Indian script, but I am not sure. So, as you can see, it's carved. It is lacquered. It opens up like this. Now, obviously, I do not use this. This is not a in-use piece. It has a hinge underneath there, is almost internalized somehow. I can't imagine how they made this. John Lacey, the original owner, is scrawled in the bottom. It is a fairly good size. This, although fairly shallow, the inch layout of it, width and height there, it would probably easily hold 25 grams, I'm guessing. The most impressive part about it is the hinge. The hinge, you can just see that hinge down there. From the outside, you cannot see it. It is completely shielded. There is almost it's almost like you could have seen it, but they almost lacquered over it. I don't see how that could be possible, though. There's a bump there in that seam where there's something there, but you're not quite sure what's going on with it. So I am very careful with this, obviously, because at the very least, very, very least, this is 118, 119 years old, and I'm guessing it's probably 5 to 10 years older than that. So, this is my great-grandfather's bartered for, traded for, paid for snuff box. Amazingly, it's got a fairly tight seal. Like, I don't know. I can't imagine. I don't think this could even be made or anybody would bother making something like this in the modern day. And if they did, it it would be ridiculously expensive. I mean, even the edges of the sides have tobacco leaves carved into it. It's like, you know, you couldn't put a price tag on this today, I don't think, or you wouldn't want to know. Let me put it that way. My great grandfather probably, you know, in modern terms, whatever he traded or money he spent was probably less than $1 in modern, you know, modern pricing. But so that's that. I just wanted to show that. I thought it was interesting. Something you don't see now. You can buy snuff boxes in the modern day. They are not to this level of craftsmanship, but there are some nice ones. There are some sold over at Wilson of Sharrow's company website, but you would have to get them sent in from England. So I am the Suit&Tie Dip&ChewGuy. I do thank you for watching. I just thought it was a interesting little tidbit. This will be on the Tools of the Trade playlist, although, as I said, I do not actually use this for snuff now, or I never have. I do thank all that have been partaking in the raffle. I have all the names down. I've been very on top of that. So if you have donated the $3 minimum or more, your name is on the list. I do thank you all for taking part. It's a great, great help, and good luck to you. Do take care of yourselves, and as always, God bless.